Do you remember the video I made in fall when I showed you the new pathway we were making, and we had gotten as far as we could in fall, and I kept telling you to just squint and imagine what it might look like? Well, imagine no more, because here it is. So the pathway is officially done. So we ended up using some really heavy gauge weathered steel edging, a little bit of limestone screenings tamped down, and then some gravel on top. Decorative gravel, the same stuff I use in the circle garden to finish up the treads. Now, if you're not familiar with what this project is all about, I will make sure to link to the video that I did where I showed you what we had done. I didn't show you the process of doing it, I just kind of talked you through it because the process was not pretty. So, but it's pretty now. It's all set and ready to go. So never fear that there are some stones sticking out along the edges. We did that, just to remind you, we did that so that I wouldn't have seams matching up on the way down, because 2 stones with a center seam the whole way is not something that my brain can wrap its head around. So we just alternated 2 and 3 once we got to the narrower part of the path. And we're going to cover up those edges that are sticking out with plants. And in fact, that's what we're doing today. We're going to plant up this whole path, put on a few special touches, and it's going to look like it's been here for a really long time, and it's going to make a wonderful way to get to the other side of our property. So before we get to the nitty-gritty of how we're going to plant this path up, I just want to say a big thank you to HoseLink for sponsoring this video and providing some of the finishing touches we have at the end. And stay tuned, because there's also going to be a giveaway. Now let's go talk some plants. So first, let's take a close-up at the top. First of all, don't look at the area where we've been trying to grow grass. It's not been going well. We will try again once we get some rain going. But you can see the path is just, it's really nice. It's very easy to walk on. It's very short steps down with long treads. Makes it very easy. It makes that really nice gravel crunching sound. And I'll take you down the end and then turn around so you can see what it looks like facing the other way. It's quite charming, and I'm particularly happy that this Acer aconitifolium is starting to kind of make its way over the path. It feels very natural. And if you turn this way, we've got this spruce kind of hangs a little bit. This tall branch kind of hangs over the path as well. So it feels enclosed and special over here without having to add something like an arbor or something like that. So earlier this year, I did do a design video where we kind of walked through how I would design this area. And although I'm not going to pull that design up in my head, we're basically going to play along with that, making a few modifications here and there for plants that I have available, and a few little tweaks. Like once you get into the space, it's never quite the same as when you're designing on paper. But the first thing we're going to do is move some plants. So as part of this project, we rerouted the sump pump and the gutters. Both have an outlet, had an outlet up there that kind of just went through a rocky path here. So we rerouted those underground with tubes. They go out over here now. And then we filled this in with new soil here. And then that disturbed some of the planting that was here, which was mostly Hacklencloa Allgold. Most of it made it through just fine. It's a little battered because of all the moving. But what we're going to do is dig up these Hacklencloa Allgold that's over here and pull those closer to the path. And then I have some more to add too. We're also going to take some a little across the path as well. But first thing we're going to do is dig those guys up and move those into this spot. Okay, so you can see I've brought some up to here. I basically been pulling it from that edge. Brought a little bit over here. I have some more of this to work throughout the path, but let's get to the first sort of new plant that's going to go in here. Now what I'd like to do is bring in some white down here, which is really going to brighten this up because it's a little bit dark down here. And so we are going to bring in one of my favorite perennials. It is a former perennial plant of the year, and it is Henri Joubert anemone. So this is a particularly good anemone. It's hardier than some. It's hardy down to 5 and up to 9. And it fills in nicely, but not super aggressive. Some of them are quite aggressive. So they're listing this as a part sun plant, and there's a little bit of sun. Let's say it's very bright light down here, and we're gonna have to hope that there's a little bit of sun in the morning that will shoot straight at them. So I'm just going to put some right in this area with the hope that they spread. Now they say the spacing on this is 12 to 18 inches, but once these get going, they will really bulk up in a very nice way, not an aggressive way. Okay, I got 3 anemones planted. Of course, I managed to stick my shovel in and slice right through the new tube that we use for drainage. So I've just moved the anemone over and left that so that we can patch that. And we'll just move on from this area while patching commences. So I'm not exactly going in any particular order here, obviously. But one of the plants we talked about in that design video was Stachy's Humilo. And that is a plant that can take, you know, both sun and shade. And it's sunnier on this side of the path than it is on this one, generally speaking. But we also have a whole bunch of Stachy's Humilo up in this garden right in here. So this will be good continuity to take you across the path. And we're gonna put 3 right there and 3 over here. In the 15 minutes since I turned off the camera because I had to sort of stop and lay out some plants before we went any further, I managed to lose my gloves. I think I probably have dirt all over my face because I've been carrying plants with my face. But I've worked out kind of a planting plan here, which makes me feel better. I was winging it for a little bit there, so let's just talk through what's here. So I haven't planted any of this yet, but let me just walk you through what everything is. Now, this is not about big swaths of plants. This is about repeating elements from side to side to carry you down the path, and sort of an interwoven mesh of plants rather than big swoops of plants. In order for you to understand what I've done farther down, we need to start up higher with what's up here, which I wasn't going to get into, but it does all flow together. So I have moved the pot that I do floating flower arrangements in up to here for now. I was looking for sort of a signature piece for this area, and I came very close to getting something that was very cool but very expensive. And at the last minute, it didn't feel right enough to spend that kind of money on. So for now, I've just moved it up here. It's obviously not level or filled. Around that, I have Carex montana planted. We've got some thalictrum there. And then we moved down here, and this is Ceslaria and Astrantia. I don't remember which variety this is. I got that last year. So because I wanted to add more Astrantia, I thought, let's take it from the other place I was going to use in the garden and bring it over here. So I've put in some new Astrantia. I think this is sparkling pink or something. So this is not the same Astrantia, but same form, same concept. Boy, I really like that plant. So I've got a group of those there. Then we've got the Stachy's Humilo that we already planted. Then we have over here, let me just grab a good one. Then we've got a Still Be Dark Side of the Moon. Now these were sent to me bare root, and I've been growing them out in one of my tomato beds. So it's a good thing we're getting them out there because it's really time to get the tomatoes in. So that's why they are not in pots, but they actually look pretty darn good, don't they? Now this Still Be can cover a broad range of sun to shade. The only thing it really needs is moisture. So the only thing that's questionable about this area, I have no problem planting it in many areas along here in terms of light exposure. It's just, will there be enough moisture? And we're just gonna find out if there's gonna be enough moisture. I suspect on this side of the path, there will be, because we've brought in new soil, which is a little heavier than our native soil. And there is still sort of, this is a downhill area, so water is running down to it. I think it'll be okay over there, we'll see. So we've got several of these in there too. And then I have this heuchera. This is Heuchera villosa Autumn Bride. This is all it does. It's just a green leaf. It gets a white flower in fall, which is really nice to have a fall bloomer in here. But this is what it does. But it's dead hardy here. It thrives in our area. So that's why this is the heuchera of choice here. And then on the other side of the path, we're going to repeat some of those elements. We've got some Autumn Brides, which can handle some sun. We've got some Still Be over here, which will be fine as long as it's wet enough, which is highly questionable. We'll see. Keep an eye on them kind of thing. So we're repeating some of those elements over there. The other element we have over here is, this is the little Carex everreal over here. I'm going to tuck it underneath this hosta where it will be happy. And then also over here, I'm going to make a little cluster of them in front of this rock, because I don't want to hide that rock. It's got a little bit of character. It's kind of interesting. So that'll be a nice fine texture kind of tucked in, which you'll see from above as you walk down the stairs. But up here, I came to the conclusion that we have a lot of the same leaf textures going on. So I thought, what can we bring in here to lighten it up? And I realized that I had some plugs of Carex montana. And this is what Carex Montana looks like. Creates these kind of light green, nice mounds. And actually here it is right next to Stacky's Humalo. So you can see it's just a fabulous texture in there. So I thought, oh, that'll be perfect in there. And now that I see it here next to Stacky's, again, I still think it's gonna be perfect in there. We are definitely testing things out on this side with both the Heuchera, which can handle a fair bit of sun, and the Astilbe. We'll see. Over here, I have no concerns about any of that. So let's just get this stuff in the ground. I'm going to start with the Astilbes, which of course are just sitting out there naked. Okay, so that's planted for now. Let me just walk you through so you can kind of see where everything landed. Of course, I moved things around just a touch from where they were sitting. And of course we have a bit of a hole right here where we have to fix the hose. I can always plop something else in there. So we're gonna sleep on this a little bit, see what it looks like in the morning, revisit it, see if we need to change some things or add some things or where we're at. So as promised, I slept on it overnight and I did make a few little adjustments, actually additions to the planting here. Remember how I said I might need some more continuity? Well, that's what we worked in. Let me show you. So what I decided is that Heckenlachloa All Gold could be that piece of continuity that I needed. So I did have some more plugs of it. So I actually added in a couple right there. And then I actually also tucked a couple in on this side as well. Now, so I had hoped for a very lived-in path look in terms of the growth of the plants. Some of those plants are obviously quite small, particularly those plugs. It'll grow in, I'll just ignore it. But one of the things I don't want to ignore are the finishing touches on this project. And that's where lighting comes in. Now, listen, I like landscape lighting a lot. I would have a lot more of it if it were easier to do. But to be perfectly honest, I don't really want to run a lot of landscape. I just don't want to deal with electric. It's a whole thing. I know low voltage can be relatively easy. It's not something I've ever felt comfortable tackling. But I did find some solar lights last year that I'm really liking, and that would be from, of all places, Hoselink. So the company that makes the hose reels that I'm a little bit obsessed with also makes a line of solar lights that are really the first ones I've ever tried that I like. So I've actually been using a couple different types of Hoselink solar lights for over a year now. And first of all, they're all still working great. Including all winter long, they work. So even though Hoselink is an Australian company, Wisconsin winter was no problem for them whatsoever. And they're just set it and forget it. You don't even have to set it. You just stick it in the ground and you're good to go. So I have some globe lights over in the vegetable garden that I watched glow. I left them in there all winter and they work just fine. I also have had this path light before and I particularly like this one. So that's what we're going to put here is this path light. So the solar bit is on top, but the light comes out here at a nice angle. And the way these work is that they're always on, but when they detect motion, they turn on a little bit brighter. So there's always sort of a dim light showing you there's a path there, but when you actually need to illuminate the path, they light up more. These come in, they're very easy. They have a little power switch right there on the bottom. You can turn them off or on. And they do come with another extension. I find that I don't need that extension. So I'm just going to put these along the path. So we will see how these perform. I will tell you, I've had some I had a couple over here for a while. Then I also had some over another part of the yard. And even though they did not get 6 hours of sun a day, they were still putting out some good light. So we're going to put these in, but I have another light too. Now this is a big spotlight and this one is new to me. So this is a two-part deal. They have a solar panel on top here and then the spotlight, and both are fully adjustable. So you just aim the panel wherever you want it and aim the light wherever you want it. But I thought maybe I could illuminate do some uplighting over here to get a little creative, including like the climbing hydrangea, which is so cool looking. So this is a new one for me. So we're gonna give this one a shot as well in this area, see how it performs. So if you're looking to actually add some of these great solar lights, there's two ways you can do that. One is a giveaway. Hoselink has agreed to give the Impatient Gardener viewer a gift certificate for $250 towards any of their solar lighting products. You can only ship to an address in the United States, or if you just want to shop and you don't want to wait for the giveaway, that is great too. And I have a discount code for you as well. So look in the description for that. I will also put details of the giveaway in the description, and we will end it on the date that I put on the screen right here. So I don't do a lot of giveaways because they just invite fraud attempt and they just prey on people. So protect yourself and know this. I will leave a comment for the person who won, but I will also put the name of that person in the description of this video when the contest is over. So if you see someone who says to be me has left a reply to your comment, check the description as well. Do look for the check mark. Most of those accounts will not have the little check mark after their name, so look for that as well. And I'll try to figure out another way to announce it, maybe on Instagram or something too, so that we can make sure that the right person gets their gift. So I know you want to see how these are going to work, so meet me back here this evening and we'll check it out. Okay, so here's our nighttime view. I would say that the spotlights are subtle. I would say in the camera they're actually showing up brighter than they are in real light, although it's dusk right now. There's still, you can still see without light out here. And I have one over here on the Japanese maple as well. And here's the path. So as we walk down, the lights are motion activated, so they should get brighter as we go down these steps. And then I put these two here at the end. Now I wanted to walk you over to the vegetable garden to show you the lights over there. So these are the globe lights in the vegetable garden. These are the ones that haven't moved all winter long. I just have them stuck in the four inside corners of the beds, the four beds on the inside. So these are what the globe lights look like at night. You definitely see them from the house. Again, they're nice accent lights. They're not blow your eyeballs off kind of lights. But anyway, these have, like I said, all winter long, these did their thing. So obviously not a lot of light in winter. No problem here. So this path project started because last year I had a tour in my garden, and it was a lovely group of ladies, several of whom were a little bit older. Several of whom weren't, by the way, too. None of them would use the path that I had here before. It was just field stones thrown on top of mulch. It was kind of a big slope. It was, it looked like the kind of path that you throw down so that you don't have to walk through your plants. It didn't look like the kind of path that was ever meant for another person to venture down. And although I had been sort of toying with this idea for many years, it was that moment that I thought, we have to do something about this. This is not inviting. I have to tell you, if there's a lesson to be learned from this, is that when you know in the back of your head that something is a little wrong, and you don't address it because you either don't have time, or you don't have money, or you don't want to lift heavy things, don't just dispense with that idea. Try to figure out a way that you can make it work, because this was an idea that, I pushed this off for 20 years, putting a proper path here. And my only regret here is that I wish I had done it 10 years ago. So, lesson learned, always worth doing. A project like this is, I would say, perhaps the bigger the pain in the butt the project is, the more wonderful it feels to have it done, and the more you'd say, yes, absolutely, I would do that again. I'm thrilled with how it turned out. I'm thrilled with the lighting. I'm mostly thrilled with the plants, the way they just are gonna arch over the pathway. Everything about this is how I had envisioned, and that doesn't always happen with projects. So I hope you're doing something fun and great and interesting in your garden today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment to get entered in the giveaway, and we'll see you soon.
We got everything here, at least to stay alive, and the time that we share makes it all worth